I am a sucker for miniatures. Any song that can pack a whole lot of punch in less than 30 seconds is just sublime by me. So like Nick Fit, In Accordance to Natural Law, Her Majesty, and this wonderful Prelude by Chopin. Let me simplify it for you so that you can really love it without getting bogged down in two very difficult technical parts. One of them is not that hard when we do this little melody. Do-do-do-do-do-do. Let's not play the grace notes and the little trills, these little appoggiaturas. And then the real hard technical stuff, when we do this melody, do-do-do-do, not play it double, do-do-do-do-do-do. That part is brutal, very, very hard. If you ignore that stuff, you can enjoy the piece even, it's not that difficult besides those two things. So let's walk through it, and then I'll show you some tips to get the technique down for those two difficult things. The theme, if any, in this prelude is this pulse given by this left hand, it's a pulse in sixth. There's 6 eighth notes over here. We'll talk more about the rhythm in a little bit. And I guess the theme is how Chopin tugs and pulls at the rhythm and in a whole bunch of ways. So right at the beginning, the way the piece opens is with this long note, this into the melody. And there's like a tug and pull at the rhythm. It reminds me of, I forget the name of the song, but it's off of Lomo's first album that starts with like a little rip in the fabric of time. It's like boop, boom, boom, boom. Just like a millisecond difference of where like a strict rhythm would be. And I feel the same thing over here. Once we land into the main theme, this nice and easy, we feel the pulse. It's there's usually 2 beats. Every measure is split into 2, and every one of those submeasures is split into 3. So it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, do 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 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1. And then immediately we're hit with this kind of poly pulse sort of thing where it sounds like this. And you can see how in the right hand here, the measure is now split into 3 groups of 2 eighth notes. So where previously it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And it's very, very, very cool. It's just a very interesting sensation whenever there's different pulses going on or quick switches between pulses. Always interesting. Very careful when you're playing this piece to not play this part in the usual 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so you really want bum 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 bum. Really dig into the difference of those two different pulses. After that, we're back to the melody in this brutal double version. And then there's another section with the poly rhythm, this poly pulse, and then we get into this gorgeous, this climax, this. That's a pretty difficult jump over there. I'll add that to the list of difficult technical things. This climax is just absolutely amazing. It's just a very simple harmony. This is what? It's the 6 to the 3, 4, back to the 1. Very, very beautiful. I do want to point something out. The individual voices are very interesting and they have very different shapes. So the melody goes like this. It's bum 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 bum. Whereas the left hand, the other voice, it sounds very normal, but there's something about it that makes it's a little weird, a little different, a little very interesting actually. And I want to, the reason I bring this up is I want to urge you to not just create one mush of sound. Really think that Chopin was a big fan of Bach. I hope I'm not making this up. I definitely read in multiple sources that he would, like, if he did have a public performance, which was very rare, he would calm himself down by playing some Bach behind the scenes. But I also remember reading somewhere that he didn't really like this idea of he's like very new romantic music. He did feel some connection to, for example, Bach. Obviously, another big connection is the fact that these are 24 preludes, which is clearly modeled from the well-tempered clavier. The point is, imagine you're Bach and you have two very different voices with different shapes, and try to hear them individually. Okay. After this climax, it repeats, and it's another very interesting part where this pulse, like I keep talking about the pulse being kind of tugged and pulled, it's broken. So after we go bum 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 bum, the left hand has this eighth note rest. So instead of going directly into the usual theme, this it's broken up. Bum 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 bum. Very, very cool. When you play it at speed, it's a little hard to hear that rest, especially because the right hand doesn't have it. But if you can pull it off, if you can really get that feeling of, wow, this pulse just got interrupted, boom, it's very, 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 very cool. And then there's the outro, which is a 2-5-1, as we'll see at the end. We'll talk about the harmony just a tiny, tiny bit. So that's it for the piece. A lot going on. Again, just so much going on. These little micro changes to the rhythm, this 3 versus 2 pulse, these gorgeous climaxes and very simple harmonies that just sound so amazing. The different voices that interact together. A lot going on. A lot of punch into a very, very short amount of time. I think it's like 30 seconds, this piece. So as promised, the technical difficulties, let's just get right down to it. This melody, first of all, practice it without this part, okay? But in fact, don't just practice it with any old fingering, and don't even practice it with the same fingering that you would use when you have the doubled voice, which would look like this. Practice by holding down these 2 notes over here and then playing the melody. This is going to force you to utilize the muscles in your hands that you would naturally use while you were playing this double version. Okay, if you were to only, I did this mistake where I would practice this a lot by using the fingering that I would use when I had the double version, but I would keep my thumb and the rest of my hand over here, and it just did not translate almost at all to the doubled version. As soon as I started doing this, holding down these 2 notes, which are played in the double version, and using the same fingering, it really became a lot easier. I'm still far away from being able to play it very, very cleanly. It's hit or miss, but it helps a lot. So that's my strongest recommendation for this part. Don't worry about the legato, by the way. There's just absolutely no way to make this fully legato. This is pretty brutal, going from this 5th finger on a white key to the 4th finger on a black key, pretty hard. And you have to like liberate your pinky very quickly, so you can go back up here. And then doing this legato is just like a fake legato, going from the 4th finger on this F sharp to the E over here. It's like almost a slide. There's just almost no way to prepare it as like a true legato. Good luck. Good luck with that part. The other difficult thing, I said these are little appoggiaturas, is boom, 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 or the trick here, I mean, there is a bit of a trick. The easier part is at the beginning when you only have one of those grace notes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have the 4th finger on this A sharp, which is the appoggiatura that goes to this G sharp over here. Essentially, you want one motion. you're gonna play the appoggiatura pretty much on the beat. I'm pretty sure in Chopin almost all appoggiaturas are on the beat. I do not play it that way, but I think stylistically that was the case in the Romantic period. In any case, you do want to feel one motion. It helps at the beginning to like exaggerate, like get your hand up here and fall down, and in a single motion we're landing on this G sharp note, we're targeting the G sharp, but we're just like throwing in that A sharp along the way. This one is not that hard to pull off. I was able to do it even as much more amateur hour than now. Okay. The much more difficult one is the second time around when he does, there's two grace notes over there. First of all, you still have kind of the same idea of, even though there's two notes and it goes up and then back down, it's still kind of a single motion. You want to use the weight and the motion and the momentum of your hand to play both of those notes. It's extra hard, extra spicy because we're playing with 3 and 4, and doing anything resembling a trill with 3 and 4 is just ludicrous. It is very, very hard. Okay, but still, you want kind of that one motion. Exaggerate at the beginning, going from high down low, and in a single motion, you sink down into that target G sharp note, but you play a G sharp and an A sharp beforehand. Once you get used to that, the way that I suggest practicing this is in two variants. First variant is to start the two grace notes on the beat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1. And then the second way is to do it before the beat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I messed it up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So the first time around, the appoggiatura starts on the beat. The second time around, that target G sharp note is on the beat. Play that slowly with both hands. Always make sure that you're sinking into that target note, and slowly you'll build up the speed. Now, in both of these cases, with this doubled nonsense and then these grace notes, be careful about your hand, like your fingers jutting out. This happens to me quite a lot. Look what happens with this third finger. Let me exaggerate. Especially at the beginning. Boom. Like it just juts out like that. Try to have some sort of control over your hands so that that doesn't happen, just so you don't tire it out as much. Here is the pinky. You see? Actually the two as well. Really try to have as much control over your hand as possible, and you really need a very strong and stable fourth finger in both of these cases. I find that the more that I can control that, the less that my fingers just jut out randomly, the smoother this comes out and the more assured I am of what I'm trying to execute. Okay, that was it for the technique. Good luck. It's unfortunate that there's these two very difficult things that mar an otherwise kind of straightforward piece. It's not that hard technically to play, and it's just so absolutely beautiful. The last thing I want to mention, I promised a bit of harmony. The ending over here is again just a 2-5-1. That just sounds so amazing. We're targeting B, so 2-5-1 in the key of B would be, oh sorry, no, it's not a 2-5-1. What am I saying? It's a, wow, it's a 6-5-1 actually. Very interesting. I think I've lived years and years of my life thinking this was a 2-5-1. How silly of me. We have, this is a D sharp, which is the 5th of G sharp. It's the dominant, right? This goes to G sharp. And then from this G sharp, we have the F sharp, which goes to B. F sharp is the dominant. I mean, interesting by itself. But when you add the melody, it's so beautiful because you have all of these dissonances. Like on this D sharp, this note, this, I guess it's not a D, it's a C double sharp. Just a very simple melody in the key of B. 3-2-1, 3-2-1, 3 blind mice, 3 blind mice. It sounds very natural over the G sharp. and then over the dominant. We see this so often in the classical romantic repertoire. On the dominant chord, we play the third in our natural key. So in the key of B, this is a D sharp, is the major third. And in the context of the dominant, this has this dissonant clash with the E natural that makes it a dominant 7. And you could just live in that note forever. Alright, hope you enjoyed it. Let's play the piece.